Getting tired of watching me climbing the small hills? Ready to see me take on a real epic adventure? Well, this could be the one for you, because today is the day. Hey there guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm in the northern fells of the English Lake District to take on one of Britain's most notorious ridge walks. It's a grade 1 scramble that's taken at least 13 lives in the last 75 years. Sharp Edge is well known as a hotspot for mountain rescue call-outs here in the Lake District. People use the ridge as a method of summiting Blencathra, and that's the mountain we're climbing today. And of the 214 summits that Alfred Wainwright documented in his books, I believe Blencathra is the 14th highest, at 868 metres, which equates to around 2,847 feet, I believe. I might be remembering that wrong. But either way, it seems to be one of his favourites. And in fact, he seemed to write more about Blencathra than any other summit in any of his books, simply due to the fact that there's probably about 12 to 15 different ways to get up there. Today, I started at Scales, and I'm summiting Blencathra via Sharp Edge. It's hot. Today guys, I'm going to be taking you along the full 250 metre length of the Sharp Edge arête from a first person point of view. I'll be highlighting the different segments of the ridge, the safety precautions you need to take, and the planning that goes into starting an adventure like this. And in doing so, I'll hopefully have provided with you the relevant information and the visual information that you need to decide if you're willing to take on this razor's edge for yourself. First of all, a quick bit of background on how Blencathra's distinctive ridges and gullies were formed. Blencathra and Skiddaw are widely believed to be the oldest mountains in England, at around 500 million years old. 500 million years! Can you even comprehend that? Homo sapiens are thought to have emerged roughly 300,000 years ago. And that in itself is a massive, massive time frame. It really just blows my mind. But anyway. The Northern Fells are geologically part of the Skiddaw Slate Group, formed from black muds, sediments and sands that settled on ancient seabeds that existed in this area all those years ago. Over millions of years, these seabeds rose up due to tectonic plate activity, where two converging plates of the Earth's crust caused folding and uplifting, which to put simply means that the converging plates had nowhere else to go, so the land was forced to crumple upwards to create these fold mountain ranges. Then, sporadic periods of global cooling, known as glacial periods or ice ages, could last 100,000 years or more, delivering layer upon layer of deep snow, covering the landscape year on year, compressing the layers of snow beneath into tightly packed ice to form glaciers. Over the course of time, global climates would fluctuate warmer again, and as glacial melting occurred, meltwater would begin to flow from beneath the glaciers, helping shape the valleys through erosion, and the glaciers would begin to slowly advance down the mountainside, scraping the land and plucking great boulders from the ground in the process. And as these processes repeated, they would carve out some of the distinct ridges, corries, gullies and fells that we see and love today. But that's enough of the history. Let's get stuck into today's route, starting at Scales and the White Horse Inn. Up the left side of the White Horse Inn there are some wooden stairs leading up through a field to a main path. I wanted to find the path that Wainwright recommended for the ascent of Blencathra, from Scales via Sharp Edge. So I took a slight detour left at this point, down a ferny path until I reached a small crossroads. From there I made a right and it went up on a gradually ascending, traversing path, offering awesome views out over the A66 towards the Helvellyn Range and the Eastern Fells. As you continue up the path towards Scalesfell, it eventually becomes steeper, more direct, and more uneven underfoot, and you ultimately arrive at another crossroads. At this point, you can head left for a gentle ascent up Scalesfell leading to Blencathra's summit, but for us adventurers, it's straight on as I followed the lengthy path northwards along the west bank of the Glendamachin River.
And now we have Sharp Edge coming into view. Only small at the moment in the middle of your screen, but there it is. And here you can see we're getting a lot closer. You can see Brunt Knot just dropping down right in the centre of the screen there as it leads up to the ridge itself.
Along this path I chanced upon Jack, a fellow creator from the Jack and Snacks YouTube channel. So I wanted to give a shout out to Jack. It's always enjoyable to meet like-minded people out in the field, and if you enjoy adventure content, I'll provide a link for his channel in my description below, and I suggest you go and check him out. He's done some very interesting research on the Strid section of the Wharfe River in Yorkshire.
So here guys we have Brunt Knot. As I mentioned earlier, we're going to go up the left hand side of it here, up this little waterfall to Scales Tarn, where I may just have a little cool down. And then we're going to make the final ascent up to the start of the ridge, and that's where it gets exciting. Let's do it. Just a little bit of chatter whilst I ascend these steps here. I have actually done Sharp Edge before, about a month back, with a friend of mine. So I've already experienced the ridge and I kind of know a lot about it already from that one visit. But the conditions on the day, it was quite grey, the sky was quite dark, and just as we were taking particularly the drone footage of the ridge, it was pretty dark and I wasn't really happy with the footage that came out. There was a few good clips, but it wasn't really the focal point of the day to film a video. It was more of a spend time with my mate, bit of a reconnaissance mission kind of day. So
if you decide to follow this route, be warned here, after a lovely stroll along the river path there, the climb to Sharp Edge by Brunt Knot involves a sudden change of pace. It's a steep climb alongside Scales Beck, and a beautiful series of small waterfalls make the trudge a little more bearable in the blazing heat. But at this point, the sun was really beating down on me, as you'll see here, but I was soon to be rewarded, as Scales Tarn beckoned at the top of the slope. After a refreshing bathe in the tarn and an incredibly warm chicken Caesar wrap, it was time to get down to business and ascend the final path to the start of the ridge. So those of you that are still here to see the first person perspective of the sharp edge arête, thank you for sticking with it. The wait is nearly over. Let's do it.
This is actually quite a brutal slope, this one. It is endless. This one is definitely one for the experienced hiker. Even if you just want to climb Blencathra without doing sharp edge, it's still the 14th highest in the Lake District. So it takes some effort, some strenuous in places, good level of fitness. And we're nearly there, look. Look at this ridge. Behind me here you can see Scales Tarn. I've just had a sit down and a rest and a bathe, just to chill out in this heat. And I'd love to tell you that it's a tranquil, serene place to chill out before a climb like this. But the reality is, it's a Saturday, it's a popular route, and there's shitloads of people about. So you've just got to get what you're given if you're going to come out on a Saturday. But I enjoyed it all the same. So this now is pretty much where I'm going to start the first person element of the video. We're going to go into POV. I'm going to have the head mount on. My hands will be free at all times. I'm not taking any risks. The camera's just simply going to be filming whatever I see. I'm going to try and film it in a few different segments as we go along. And the sound will be on, so cue a lot of heavy breathing, several swear words, and hopefully no screams and the sound of me falling. So wish me luck. There it is. So it begins. Whew. Let's go. So, as you can see, very rugged, very rocky. Lots of midges actually. Sticking with, I suppose, the pinnacle for now, but whether it will always be like that, I don't know. Safety's first. Flattens out a little bit here. But again, if we want to go round by the path, we can do, or we can try and stick with the arête as much as possible. can see, scales tan, and we're still alright off to the sides. It'd still hurt if you fell off, but it's not at the stage where you're plummeting for tens and tens of meters at this stage. Still very manageable. Three points of contact maintained. Bit of a climb. And there are quite a lot of flat rocks, very good footholds. There's lots of these kind of bits here, just great handholds. Get a lot of purchase. And walking it like a tightrope is a bit silly in places. I quite like to just hold the top like a railing. Just feel a lot more steady. And here we have a flat bit, so I'm just going to take a chill here, get some more footage whilst it's safe to do so, before continuing the ridge. First off, just looking at where we've come from. Just looking back down the ridge. A bit shallow on the outer edges, not too sheer a drop. You do notice this path just coming along the side here. You can follow that for a good way. Wainwright advises not for too long, and you can see the higher one just start to rejoin the arête a bit further up here. If you go too far on the lower path, you end up at a dead end, I think. Look at this, guys. Fantastic. Not a cloud in the sky, blistering sunshine, hardly any wind. Absolutely ideal conditions for doing this route today. Quite sheer on this side now. And just look at the ridge to come. Yeah. Still goes like a razor's edge. So sharp you could shave on it, according to Wainwright. And that's Atkinson Pike at the top up there. So we go into this second segment of the route. Still a path heading round to the right. Still lots of jagged edges to get a hold on as we walk along the pinnacle of the ridge. Taking care. But we do have quite a flat looking slab ahead of us, and that's a great little rest point just to gather yourself if you're getting a bit sick with the heights. Now we just take it easy. For the next section, which does involve a little bit of climbing. I'm not going over the top of this. There's adventurous and there's just plain stupid. But now look how sheer it gets. Now we get into this next bit. jump. And just looking back where we've finished the second segment there, I look back at the ridge, and also, it's a long way down. And now we have the second of two quite flat stone slabs as we head up the ridge.
This flat section would lead me to the trickiest part of the ridge, known as the bad step. Sitting at the top of what mountain rescue teams refer to as the usual gully, due to its notoriety for falls and emergency call-outs, the bad step is the only way to safely leave Sharp Edge and reach the rock scramble of Fool Crag. Beware, the bad step is shiny from many an explorer shuffling off the edge of it, so take extreme care and you'll be just fine. And this is why they call it the bad step. Look how steep it is. And I think this is the northern gully where tragically people have fallen. And I think I now have to shuffle my bottom off this rock and find a foothold just down below. And that is the hardest part then, and it becomes more of a climb. Now this Stegosaurus ridge just here leads on into what becomes a rock climb. Plenty of finger holds, footholds. It's just a strenuous activity. And the advice here is to stay right. If you get too left, the rocks get more sheer, slippery. If you stay right, you've got more to grab onto. And particularly just over here, there is a little ravine. And if you can get between the walls of it, you feel secure on each side. So that's a good bit of advice, I think. Mountain guides might tell me I'm wrong, but that's what I did the first time, and I might just do it again now. Now I'm just gonna climb this thing to the very top. Don't look down. Ooh, slippery rock there. And then a bit of a ravine. Lots of handholds.
Plenty of places for your feet. Just pause there. Looking back over my shoulder. Very sloping rocks shaped by those glaciers hundreds of thousands and even millions of years ago. Can see it all from here. Last time I was here a month back, we did Bowscale Fell, and then Bannerdale Crags, this is this one. Then we did Blencathra, and then we came down from Blencathra along this Scales Fell ridge here into the dip, and just behind Bannerdale Crags you can see South of Fell, just behind it. It was a good route, 11.5 miles. But now, onwards and upwards to the crack of doom. Found a footpath of sorts. Am I there yet, lads? Oh, cheers. Guard of honour. Take care going down, fellas. Ridge completed. Hope you guys enjoyed that from maybe a point of view you haven't seen before. So, I did it. I made it to the top of Sharp Edge. Fool Crag, to be specific. This part of the crag where it turned into the rock climb that you've just seen, that's Fool Crag. And I'm just sat at the top of it where the footpath seems to begin again now. So how should you prepare for an adventure like this? You heard me down on the ridge earlier talking about the weather. But the first port of call really starts at home with the gear you have. You need the correct gear. Depending on the time of year, layers for warmth and waterproofing may be needed, a torch, emergency whistle, foil blanket, maps, compass, plenty of food and water. The list goes on. But perhaps most important, or one of the key things, is a sturdy pair of footwear. It's essential. I've gone with a light walking boot with a good grip today, waterproof. I feel like an approach shoe would be a good option as well. It'd help you be agile and give you a bit more ankle flexibility on the ridge. But as long as they're waterproof with a really good grip so you can find those footholds and hook on, It is a grade 1 scramble. It is dangerous, but the hazards are real. And I'll link Adventure Smart down in the description. That's a great website to help prepare you for any excursions in the outdoors. And there's a whole wealth of information on there. I guess I might as well just take you up the remainder of the path, really complete the route. Hey guys. And straight away you can see a couple of people, maybe even I can, maybe you can't, on the summit of Blencathra. It's literally right there. So before all the mountain guides and mountain leaders pile on about the use of cameras on a dangerous ridge, I thought I'd just disclaim the video a little bit at this point. All of the first person stuff, the camera was mounted on my head, hands were free at all times. The moments where I did stop and use the handheld camera, it was safe to do so. There are several flat sections that are wide enough for various people to pass and for you to take a rest and things like that along the ridge. So that's where I did most of the handheld work. As for the drone work, again, I was in a place where I could just set my bag down. It was the flat slab of rock that you saw in the middle, so I didn't have any worries about falling, slipping, tripping. I made sure I was in nobody's way, and it was an entirely safe flight that didn't hinder anyone. My own safety was my first priority, despite wanting to film a good video. So I just wanted to say that precautions were taken, and as well as having a good confidence in terms of the terrain as well. Wow, just the way the light's hitting right now. Check this out.
In addition to planning your route well and having the right gear, I wanted to return to a brief comment that I made earlier on the ridge. The day's conditions were ideal for this particular ridge walk. Low wind speed, a day of sun, no rain was forecast. Knowing the weather conditions in advance is absolutely essential for doing a route like this. That includes knowing the weather and conditions at altitude, as it can vary from down at sea level. For that reason, I will include links in my description to the MWIS website that I use, and I also use the Met Office and Weatherline occasionally too. But if you want my advice, this is it. This route is accessible all year round, but if attempted in ice and snow, ensure you have the relevant high mountain experience, expertise and equipment for ice climbing. This becomes more of a dangerous mountaineer expedition than a hike. If the forecast is for rain, I would leave this route alone. The ridge is made up of skid-or composed slate, which is notoriously slippery when wet. It becomes like glass, which can be treacherous underfoot, and many a call out to sharp edge happens when people are out in wet conditions. You owe it to the heroes in the Keswick Mountain Rescue Team to keep yourself safe so that they don't have to. And finally, avoid this route if wind speeds exceed 30 miles an hour. Be cautious if they exceed 20 to 25. Pay attention to the wind direction. If it's a crosswind across the ridge, it can turn a potentially comfortable scramble into a tricky situation. Always play it safe and take no risks. There is a safer route up from Scales Tarn to the summit without doing sharp edge. But with that lecture over, it was time to summit Blencathra.
This is it, the last few steps. summited. Well, what a day it's been. That was Blencathra summit. Absolutely fantastic, and just absolutely blown away by the views. When I was last up here, like I said, it was cloudy, and the clouds started to come a little bit low, so it kind of obscured a lot of the horizon, and this is just insane. And just look at these gullies, and Blencathra has several of these gullies, and you can actually ascend the fell by each of them. It's all in Wainwright's books. But yeah, this fell's been sitting here unclimbed until about a month ago by myself, and all these years I could have come up here and seen this view. The Mel Fell's just over here. Helvellyn straight ahead. Catsey Cam, I think you can pick out the little pyramid shape on the horizon, maybe just a little poke. Some smaller ones. It's a bit hazy, so you perhaps can't see Cat Bells and Maiden Moor. High Spy goes up. Once again, guys, if you've made it this far, you have my gratitude. I hope you found it informative. I hope it really showed you firsthand what Sharp Edge is actually like, the dangers, the risks, but also how enjoyable it could be and how exciting it is. I hope that came through the video. I tried to show you the views as well, give you a few little tips and tricks. If you did like it, please show your appreciation in the likes and the comments. It really helps YouTube to put my video out onto other people's suggested videos, so help me work the algorithm as best as I can for a little YouTube account like this. But if you like this content, guys, I hope you consider subscribing, hit that notification bell so you don't miss a future upload. I do have a couple of exciting vlogs in the pipeline, some good videos that I've got planned and just need to get out and shoot, so watch this space for those. And I've also been uploading my Instagram reels as YouTube shorts now, and I figure I might as well just use the TikTok platform as well to help get my name out there. So the links for those will be in the description below. Come and say hello over there if you wish. But with all that said, that's it from me. I'm going to head down from Atkinson Pike now to the boring fields of Mungrasdale Common. So leave me with that. Until next time, stay safe, and I'll see you out there.
For more information on mountain safety and on the good work that the Keswick Mountain Rescue Team do, I'll provide a link to their website below. On there is a link if you'd like to join me and donate to their cause. They are a charitable organisation reliant on public funding, and most rescue missions involve 10 to 20 members, potentially risking their own safety for yours. Whilst accidents do happen, as adventurers it's our own duty of care to minimise the risk, look after ourselves and explore sensibly. And I'm sure I'm not alone in being grateful to have the peace of mind that if I'm ever in dire need of assistance out there, I have someone to call.